That said, I'm going to read just a few brief excerpts from the book Animal Cracker. And I think Deb talked a little bit about what this book is about, so I don't think I need to go through that again. And the narrator is named Diane, and she's now speaking at the very beginning of the book, Chapter 1. I was sitting in my new boss's office at the Animal Protection Organization, a 12-site pet shelter operation, for our weekly supervisory meeting, surrounded by the entire contents of the Critter World catalog. Pens shaped like goldfish littered his desk. A collection of mugs featuring a zoo's worth of animals awaited their morning coffee on his credenza. So tell me, Diane, what are your dreams? For your life, I mean. Hal leaned back in his chair and folded his arms behind his head. I was 25 years old. I had more dreams than Don Quixote. Yes, I'd been an English major, including saving every sad-eyed pup, paying off my student loans without selling my soul, and cuddling with a man-shaped specimen of the human species. I wasn't about to confess any of this to my new boss. Well, Diane, my dream is for a world that has respect for every living creature, from the lowliest field mouse to the majestic elk on the plain. He paused, knitting his eyebrows. No, wait, not respect. Make that reverence. Yeah, reverence for all God's creatures. What do you say to that, Diane? Hal, that's a dream I can really get behind. I knew we shared a vision the minute I met you. You have a passion and intelligence that fits right in here. So far, I was killing it. Yeah, he went on, more than I can say for some people. He looked at me expectantly. A question seemed to be called for. Like, who? A satisfied smile played about his lips. I passed some sort of test. Your predecessor, Rebecca. What about her? His near-perfect face developed some unsightly lines as he scowled at the memory of the imperfect Rebecca. Let's just say she didn't exactly fit in here. Not like you. I didn't want to know anymore, at least not at that moment, and not from Hal. I made a mental note to ask someone else about Rebecca after I'd been here longer and found someone I could trust. Whatever had become of her, it didn't sound good. Now this press release, he said, pointing to the document I'd handed him. You need to blump it up. Blump? I made a mental note to Google it later. Conjectured definition, to expand upon. Origin, from the Latin blumpere, to swell. As he smiled like Mr. Universe, the sound of dogs barked from Hal's well-tailored pocket. He reached in and withdrew his phone. I could hear squawking, then Hal. Joyce, we already discussed this, and I told you. More squawking, Hal drumming his hands on the table. After some eye-rolling and sputtering, he hung up. My wife. She's a Harvard professor, a biologist who's written extensively about the role of animals in our ecosystems. You may have heard of her. Joyce Carter. Hal was married to Joyce Carter, the Spider Woman. Joyce Carter had been an obscure zoology professor specializing in arachnids of the American Southwest when she'd been tapped to host a public television show called Creepy Crawlies and Friends. Boston's Saturday morning TV screens are slithering with spiders and Joyce Carter. She's a very impressive woman, I kissed up. Got that right. He leaned towards me. I respect women, Diane, and I like to see them reach their highest potential. He paused. No, I'm a writer, too. His chest blumped up. You mean like articles on animal rights? No, something else entirely. I'm working on a screenplay. Lots of folks going to be mighty uncomfortable when this baby gets out there. He's going to blow the lid off the animal shelter world? What's it about? Again, he leaned forward and in a mock stage whisper informed me, it's about some evil goings-on at that famous university in town. I can't tell you any more than that, except that those hoity snot-noses over there ain't going to like it. Not one bit. Hal's face was nearly flawless. Piercing blue eyes, firm chin, all topped by wavy dark hair and arranged in perfect symmetry, save for the lines etched up and down and across his forehead in a sort of plaid pattern. He wore his love of animals on his sleeve and around his neck. That day's tie, setting off his Brad Pitt handsome face, featured raccoons scampering under a cascading waterfall, frolicking on an umbrella-decked beach, and I'm not making this up, lobbing tennis balls, dressed in the formal whites of Wimbledon. That's the opening. So, you get a little sense of Hal and Diane, and meanwhile, I lost the page with the marker where I was going to read the next section. So give me just a second, please.